Oh, baby. Welcome to this edition of Overreaction Monday. After much of the Week 2 action is in the books, along with Chris Brockman,
What's up, Rich?
I am Rich Eisen. Today's episode, as always, is brought to you by our friends at Game Time, the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code OVERREACTION. You get $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Last week's edition of our show had a record amount of downloads on our YouTube stream. We thank everybody who does that, who watches us on our YouTube channel, as well as downloading us wherever you get your podcasts. And last week we were like, wow, week one was exactly what this show is made for.
Yes, correct.
And then week 2 hit.
And then yesterday. Oh my gosh, Sunday.
And then week 2 Sunday hit.
Oh, wow.
Correct. So let's get right to it. I'm sure you've got a ton. You've got a lot of writing on that piece of paper.
Well, I was taking some notes because I need some stats to back up some of these takes because I think you're going to be disagreeing a lot.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're the guy who on this show just a couple weeks ago said Spencer Rattler would be starting for the Saints by Halloween. That didn't age very well at all. Hit it, Mike Del Tufo. Hit it.
That was terrible.
That was crap. That was garbage. This place sucks.
Overreaction Monday.
All right, Christopher, hit me up with it. What do you have over there?
Let's start there. As I said a couple weeks ago, what a difference a couple weeks does make in this world of overreactions.
Yes,
Rich.
Dennis Allen was the first coach to be fired.
Correct.
Spencer Rattler would be starting by Halloween. And we assume that would be the first quarterback benched would be Derek Carr.
Absolutely.
And as we come on the air, Bryce Young's been benched.
Bryce Young benched.
After 18 starts, but that might be for another subject matter later on in the show.
Yeah, maybe later on, but let's just stick with New Orleans here, Rich.
Sure, why not?
The Saints are the best team in the NFL right now.
Oh, come on.
How could you argue otherwise? 91 points scored in 2 games leads the NFL. Plus 62 point differential leads the NFL. Dispatch of a team 1 week ago. We thought, hey, the Cowboys could be in the Super Bowl. How's that look?
Better than the Chiefs?
Yeah, the Chiefs are a toenail and a referee call away from being 0-2.
Better than the Bills, better than the 49ers, better than the Eagles.
Yeah.
Better than the Bucs in their own division. Better than the Bucs. Better than the Bucs.
They look better than the Bucs right now. The Saints offense, who can stop them? 15 possessions. Derek Carr has gone out to the field to lead his team. They have scored on all 15 of those. Is that good?
Better. Did I mention the Eagles?
Better.
Okay.
I want to see what the Eagles look like on Monday.
Better than
first.
the Texans. Better than the Texans.
The Texans only scored 19 points last night on Sunday night against the Bears.
All right, you convinced me.
Derek Carr, MVP. The Saints are the number 1 team in the NFL right now. I mean, I don't know how you could say otherwise.
The right now is why I'm agreeing with you.
And I specifically put that in for a reason.
But normally that you don't usually have a qualifier like that for Overreaction Monday, which means even you're hedging by asking me this, by saying this statement.
Yeah, I really do like the Bucs so far.
Okay, and I know people listen to this pod, so I'm going to ask for something visual, and then we'll describe it. The man who's punching the buttons is a diehard Saints fan.
Diehard, who I know for a fact has a Saints Super Bowl ticket.
Okay. So what does that mean? He's got a Saints Super Bowl
That means
ticket?
he has a future on the Saints to win the Super Bowl.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Understood. But he's also the one who egged you on for the Spencer Rattler take.
He is the one.
He greenlit it.
He greenlit. I read it by him.
You on, and he eggs no one on. He's a man who eggs nobody
he
on.
looked great in the preseason.
Okay.
And so I ran it by him, and he said yes.
If Don Bowie, if you agree with this, take Chris Brockman's shot right now. Oh, he does agree with it. Wow. The right now. Then, okay, without the right now, that the Saints are the best team in the NFL, without the right now, take Brockman's shot right now. And we're on the 2 shot. He just showed us Alvin Kamara instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
4 touchdowns.
So that's by the way, 91 points in 2 games.
Impressive.
Against the Carolina Panthers, they eviscerated them, which you're supposed to do if that's the way they look.
Yes.
Okay. Then they go into Dallas.
And
crush them. and do exactly just when the Dallas Cowboys are thinking, we have turned the page from that Green Bay loss.
Oh, yeah.
They eviscerate the Dallas Cowboys and turn the Dallas Cowboys into the Browns from the previous week.
Correct.
The way that the Cowboys made the Browns look is the way that the Saints made the Cowboys look. And nobody saw that one coming. And the 91 points are tied for the fourth most in the history of the NFL of any teams through the first 2 weeks. They became the fifth team to go 2-0 with at least 44 points in those first 2 wins in the history of the NFL. And the last team to do it were the 2009 Saints that won the Super Bowl.
They won the Super Bowl.
Correct.
Right. They won it.
So right now, they are the best team in the NFL. I will agree with that.
Oh, wow.
I'm with you. You convinced me. I pushed back just to say, let me just think about it.
Let's talk it out.
Yes, but you have to agree. They did it at home. They did it on the road. They did it on the road against a team that looked great on the road.
Now, if they had won this game on Sunday at home, I'd be like, the fact that they went into Dallas.
Where they had won 16 in a row in the regular season.
The last 2 years, undefeated at home in the regular season.
That's correct.
Really impressive.
Okay, Chris, you're one for
really
one.
Impressive.
Go figure that.
All right, let's go to the other side of that particular game.
So wait a minute. Hold on a second. You're telling me you're about to overreact to something involving the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious! That's a dog bites man story. Is
Of
it not?
Of course.
Not my dogs.
Yeah, true. Not your dogs.
Maybe
your dogs are lovely.
Okay, thank you.
My dog's lovely. The Cowboys are Super Bowl contending frauds. Frauds. In fact, Mike McCarthy, we're on Belichick watch for the Cowboys already.
No, that's now that should have been your bottom line. That should have been your statement.
Subhead.
That's an overreaction.
Subhead.
And it's a
Last week, Belichick watch for the Giants, which, by the way, is still on. This week, Belichick watch Cowboys. What the hell was that?
I don't know what it was, other than the fact that it's just an inconsistency that that normally you would say Super Bowl contenders do not suffer, and thus you are calling them fraudulent. I will push back and say that the Dallas Cowboys have what it takes to do it. The question is, when push comes to shove and something happens, do they fold up? Do they have the ability to fight through an adversity and win a game they should not? And all I'm saying is that there's no way you can tell me that the Dallas Cowboys, because we did it on the flagship show, games that they should win and games that would be nice to win.
Yeah.
We came out with 9 wins of or 8 wins of should wins and 6 nice to wins, and we gave them half of that, which is a 12-win season.
Correct.
Okay? Now, you can't sit here and say that there's no chance that the Dallas Cowboys can't win at San Francisco or against Detroit or at Pittsburgh. And I'm giving you weeks 8, 6, and 5. They can do that, which would completely flip the script that they're fraudulent Super Bowl contenders. You can't sit here and say that it was jarring. It does bring back memories of the way they did get bounced and were shown to be fraudulent Super Bowl contenders last year. And that's why you're saying that now. It is just 2 weeks in, pal. You know, if you added the for now here, right now, I'd say sure. But you can't do the right now. Otherwise, we don't have a podcast if you do that every single one.
Yeah, exactly. Also, they better win on Sunday against Baltimore.
I don't know about the better win. I mean,
they better win.
You know,
that's back-to-back. That'd be back-to-back home losses.
But Baltimore, if the losses like that are the same reason why a win like what the Cowboys had in week 1, they're empty calories. They're only important they're obviously it is a win, which is better than a loss, but it's an empty calorie win because the tiebreak, it's not usable for a tiebreak unless it's a common opponent.
Right.
Or strength of victory, which is like, tie
way down the list.
Tiebreak,
right.
M and N.
Right.
You know?
It's way down.
P and Q. Should I keep going on with the letters that are strung together?
Yeah,
R and S.
Yeah. Oh.
Deep letters. U and V.
DW.
All right. So we'll end the Sesame Street portion of this podcast. But the bottom line is you lose to the Ravens. That'll be a measuring stick conversation, but it's an AFC team. So listen, it's still so early. They have so many Pro Bowl players, and they might get Deron Bland back. They should, and we'll see what happens. But that sucked. There's no other way to put it. I mean, it's straight up.
It was bad. It was really
They
bad.
look terrible for
Terrible.
everything that. But I'll be consistent. Last week, after they beat 2 weeks ago, they beat the Browns. I'm like, whatever. Let's see what happens in January. So I'll whatever this too.
How much you put out the loss on Dak?
I put the loss on the defense.
Defense. Yeah.
And then again, but
They couldn't get in the end zone.
Pal,
They couldn't get in the end zone. They had one touchdown.
But we talked about this. Who else than CeeDee Lamb's going to go catch the ball?
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And the running game,
Non-existent.
that's going to be the conversation.
Yeah.
Next week. You know, this won't be an overreaction. All right? Because it's true. Next week, we could be talking about, boy, the Cowboys should have signed Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we've been saying it since March.
Okay. What else you got over there?
One of the other surprising results from Sunday, Rich, San Francisco. I said after week 1, they should be number 1 in everybody's power rankings. That was such an impressive win to start the year against the Jets. Now they go into Minnesota and lose.
That's right, which is why I said I still put the Chiefs number 1 in the power rankings.
Yeah.
And by the way, stay tuned to Wednesday on the flagship show.
Oh, great. Well, I hope the Saints are number 1 because they're the best team in the NFL.
Okay. Okay.
Quarterback play from Brock Purdy has not been impressive. Meanwhile, Sam Darnold, oh, baby, MVP Sam is back. The 49ers let the wrong quarterback walk to Minnesota.
So stupid. I mean, the dumbest thing you've said in a long time.
Imagine where the
Are you
Niners would
saying- hold on a
be if they
second.
had Sam Darnold.
If you
You don't think Sam Darnold could do everything that Brock Purdy,
This is excellent.
that everyone thinks Brock Purdy does? Sam Darnold, high draft pick pedigree. Where was he in the draft?
Yes.
Third overall, right?
Okay, sure.
Where was Brock Purdy drafted?
Okay, last.
So you would go to reason by that Sam has infinite more talent than Brock Purdy. And you see what Brock Purdy does, lead him to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Is an MVP finalist. Sam Darnold could do the exact same thing with the Niners. They should have kept him instead. Let Brock go to Minnesota.
I've never seen Gallagher in concert. May he rest in peace.
He's
the
no
comedian.
longer with us?
I don't believe so.
Oh, man.
Did I kill him off? You want to look it up, Mike? Did I kill off Gallagher? I think he's no longer with us, everybody. And again, he's a comedian who would
smash
stuff
the
like
water,
right, and
yeah.
people would wear, like
Really nice clothes in the front.
Well, but
then
they would wear like ponchos,
Right.
for splatterproof. Yeah, he passed away in 2022, so I'm not overreacting there. I'm accurate. I kind of feel like what you just did is even better performance artistry than Gallagher. That was really good, man.
Thank you.
Because there's no way on this planet you could actually believe that they should have let Brock Purdy go to Minnesota after last season and kept Sam Darnold. There's just no way you can actually do that. That was an excellent. I want you to keep going. Do you have any more? Because that was really entertaining. That was really entertaining.
They should have kept Brock Purdy. Correct me if I'm right. Has Brock Purdy, did they win the Super Bowl that I'm like missing?
You mean
did
no?
they win that?
No.
Did they win that game?
They lost the Super Bowl.
Oh, they lost
but not because of Brock Purdy's lack of
they
performing.
lost it. Did he make a play to win that game? I really forget.
Well,
my
he could have
memory.
made a play to win that game if Chris Jones didn't burst through on that third down.
Do you think Sam Darnold is
Jawan
better?
Jennings almost won the MVP, and somebody had to deliver the ball to him.
If I gave you the blind taste test, which quarterback would you pick for stats? You'd pick Sam Darnold 10 out of 10.
For stats.
10 out of 10. Do you think Sam Darnold's a better quarterback than Brock Purdy? Is he
when
more
you called him
talented and has better skills?
You called him MVP Sam, right? Just moments ago?
Yeah.
Right.
MVP Sam.
And you're referring to
MVP
his
Sam.
final
Hold on,
year in
let
Carolina.
me just run this up. Sam Darnold.
Oh, these are the stats you wrote
Sam
down.
Darnold is 5th in passer rating.
Oh, gosh.
Through 2 weeks. He's 2nd in touchdown passes
Yes.
and 3rd in yards per attempt.
Great. And the Vikings deserve all the flowers that they're 2-0, and that in the same way that I was saying beating an AFC team or losing to the AFC team is sort of empty calories, they are 2-0 in division. I mean, they're 2-0 in conference.
Yep.
They have beaten the team that, they might have to see again and maybe will bring to Minnesota, okay, because the Niners are still the Niners, and they will get Christian McCaffrey back, we assume. Okay. All right, so bottom line is, I don't really want to spend much more real estate on this performance artistry that we all know. You referred to MVP Sam Darnold based on his first 3 games as a Carolina Panther, way back when they weren't benching first overall picks because of their complete ineptitude.
I forget what year that was.
But actually had Christian McCaffrey and Sam Darnold
They were
and
great.
DJ Moore
3-0.
and had a roster. They went 3-0, and Darnold was superb.
Yep.
And then not so much.
MVP Sam.
Right. So there are still 17 regular season games.
Last time I checked,
very
yeah.
good. Brock Purdy played the 17 regular season games last year.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And he was a top 5 MVP candidate.
He was.
And actually performed very well in the playoffs to the point where I think we should remove that whole questionable tag to his abilities. I know he didn't look all that great in Minnesota. That does appear to be his own personal house of horrors. So I will just chalk it up to that, say you're completely overreacting. But bravo, sir. This whole concept was like you smashing a watermelon with a mallet. I just need to have some splash-proof garb on to keep it from splattering all over what I think is a very nice shirt.
Real nice.
Thank you.
It's a good shade of blue.
All right.
Let the wrong quarterback walk to Minnesota.
You're ridiculous. What else?
It's really hard to keep a straight face during all that.
That was great. Well done.
The Packers are going undefeated with Malik Willis at quarterback.
You mean he will not lose a game before he hands off to Jordan Love? Is what you're
Correct. As long as he is starting, they are going to win that game.
All right. I will move forward with this idea. Tennessee is next.
I got to say, they looked really good on Sunday.
Well, I mean, they were able to run the ball very effectively to take the pressure off. They were not in a position where he had to win it with his arm.
Right. Run the ball. Don't turn it over.
And that is the 100% situation is if you are Matt LaFleur and you need to win a football game with Malik Willis in your home opener against the Indianapolis Colts, you want two things. You want him to not make the mistake to turn it over, to give Anthony Richardson a short field. And you also don't want to be in a position where you have to win the game based on Malik Willis throwing it. And they had a game plan for it, and they executed the hell out of it. Mm-hmm. So, next up is at Tennessee. I think they can win that game.
You got to think they can. I mean, Will Levis is, I don't know what he's doing back there. But
home for Minnesota is the one that's a rough one. Because even if you think, let's give Jordan Love a month, correct?
Sure.
Ian Rappaport on Sunday's NFL Game Day morning said they're targeting Week 5 at the Rams for a return.
Okay.
Let's just assume that Malik Willis is going to have to start that game. Okay?
Okay.
The one that concerns me is Week 4 home against Minnesota.
At least they're home for that.
I understand at least they're home for that. But, Aaron Jones has got that thing circled. And Sam Darnold is not Anthony Richardson. Okay. And the Vikings defense is not as porous run-wise as Indianapolis.
Jordan Mason had a pretty good day on Sunday.
I understand that, but it ain't like you're going to have 260-something yards by halftime.
Right.
Or even, let's just give him half that, which would be a very nice first half as well on the ground, where you're trying to take things off of Malik Willis. So I will say Week 4, home for Minnesota, concerns me. And I will also say that assuming Malik Willis will do exactly what he did against the Colts, and what the offense did exactly against the Colts is something that's so repeatable, he can do it 4 more times, and we're not going to bat an eyelash. But I can't sit here and say this isn't in the realm of possibility, and you're overreacting. Yeah. So
they look good.
I will, in LaFleur, we trust, and say, even if we're wrong, I'll agree with you. But even if we're wrong, they've already gotten one.
Right.
And last year with Zach Wilson, I thought that one was the one where they beat the Eagles. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
And they had one where they almost beat the Chiefs with Taylor Swift in the house.
Yep.
And that was at the zenith of Swift mania when everyone was wondering, is she going to go to every single game of his? And so I needed to see more wins than that. But I thought one win was going to be good, and it could lead to others.
Well, remember a few years ago when Cooper Rush filled in for Dak, and
and he won 4 in a row, right?
He kept
to the
winning
point
games.
where, boy, if we had this podcast then,
oh baby,
that literally would have been a Mount Rushmore spot in the history of Overreaction Monday.
In the first take right up to halftime.
Oh my gosh, Cooper Rush was going to take over Dak's job, all that nonsense and craziness.
Dak's system quarterback.
But in all seriousness, the one win, if Love's out 3-4, the one win is huge. 2 would be gravy. Yeah,
beat the Titans coming up this week,
so
and that's great.
Which would mean you'd be at worst 2-3 with Love coming back.
Right.
Absolutely. Something you'd sign for.
Totally fine.
Right? As opposed to a total disaster of 1-4.
Yeah.
Or 0-5.
Right.
But if you win 2 and you get the worst is you're 3-2 with him coming back,
or maybe Love comes back against the Rams and you're 2-2.
Unreal.
Yeah.
So
That's a good scenario.
I don't think that is an overreaction right there.
All right, last one before halftime.
Before halftime, everybody.
And I know that they're 1-1. They don't even lead their division, but it's been really impressive the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The Cardinals going to win the NFC West.
Ah, that's an overreaction. That's an overreaction. And this is my sleeper team for the NFC. This is my sleeper team.
Their offense looks as good as any team in the NFL.
You know what, man? Let's see Kyler Murray face Fred Warner and face Bosa. And I know what Sam Darnold just did, which makes me go, well, why wouldn't Kyler Murray do just as well as Sam?
Yeah, exactly.
Since Kyler Murray just did, the Rams are a shadow of themselves right now. They're a shadow of themselves right now. 2/5 of their offensive line went on injured reserve.
That's fair.
And they're all pro wide receivers. One goes out 1 week, one goes out another week. And in the middle of these games.
I understand. Okay? But they did go to Buffalo and had a double-digit lead in the second half of that game.
I understand that. But they're already a game behind Seattle right now. Just 2 weeks in. Just to sit here and say they're going to win the NFC West is total pie in the sky. And to have them perform as well as they did is flowers to them. Let's put a pin in this one. They got Detroit this week at home. There's a should win game already with Washington coming in the following week. They're at San Francisco and Green Bay in back-to-back weeks. And dude, let me tell you this Monday night game in week 7, the Chargers.
That's awesome.
Now, in previous years, it would be like, okay, like here comes Herbert lighting it up and it'll be on tilt.
That's not what it's going to be. Yeah.
No. This is Jim Harbaugh taking a 300-pound defensive lineman and saying, take off number 99, wear number 44. You're our fullback now. Okay? And we're going to just come in and dominate the trenches and go hit you in the mouth. And they are more equipped to turn Murray into a pumpkin than the Los Angeles team that we just saw in their house on Sunday. Listen, they are talented, and they are going to be fun to watch, and they might win more than lose this year.
Very fun.
But win the division?
Yeah, why not? The Rams are out. They're not going to win the division.
Well, I mean, now that's an overreaction too. That's an overreaction too.
But Seattle's looked good.
Losing at home though to San Francisco this week would be a killer. Losing a home playoff, a home division game. Those are tough to overcome, which is why it's going to be tough maybe for the Dolphins to overcome what just happened, not just losing to the Bills last Thursday, but also losing to the Bills at home and losing Tua for who knows how long.
Yeah, big question mark there.
So, yeah, that's an overreact. But right now, you know what you are? You're batting 500 right now. You're 2 for 4.
All right, sir.
Halftime. As we have reached halftime of this edition of Overreaction Monday, brought to you by Game Time. There's a new feature from Game Time called Game Time Picks. What it is a way to filter out the fluff and see only the incredible deals on great seats you want or you're interested in, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You just don't. Or if you're just like wondering, listen, I know I want to go to a game, I know I want to see something, so let me just head to Game Time Picks and I'll see what the great deal is, and maybe I'll pick and choose where I'm going based on the deal I'm getting.
Ooh, I like that idea.
All-in pricing feature. You get to see your total up front, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. And with Game Time, you always get the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference, plus your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Game Time just wants to take the guesswork straight out of buying tickets. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code OVERREACTION for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Visit GameTime.co for restrictions. Again, create an account, redeem our code OVERREACTION, $20 off. Boom.
Boom.
Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Second half, Chris. I feel like I was the Kendrick Lamar of our pod, right?
Yeah, that was an halftime show.
Okay.
Nice.
Yep.
Little Wayne's not happy about that. Rich, last week we put our hand up on this team.
By the way, isn't it Lil Wayne?
Lil Wayne.
I think you said little.
Did I say little? Apologies.
Did he?
Apologies,
I think you said Little Wayne. I understand
Wayne,
there's an
Lil Wayne.
apostrophe. Okay, very good.
It's fine.
Right. Mike is talking off mic.
Last week.
Which is great for a sound engineer.
Last week, apologies.
Yes.
This week, the Bucs are Super Bowl contenders.
Oh, I agree.
You agree?
Yes. Listen, And I'm not just saying that because I know they're watching. Okay.
Shout out Bucs social team.
By the way, Bucs
Well done,
social
Bucs
team.
social
We saw it, and I appreciate you cutting out most of my apologies and just giving Brockman the heat.
It was all me.
I know, and I was with you.
I'll take it.
Okay. Spell your name right.
That's right.
Over.
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, the Bucs social media team included our apologies.
Yeah.
That we took our finger off the chess piece of our move of saying the Falcons were going to win.
You know, yeah.
Dude, they are.
They look awesome.
They are. They've got a Super Bowl contending team. They've got a defense that it's obviously all dependent on health, but consistency. They are going to reward their general manager, Jason Light, with showing what it means to have everybody brought back.
Yep.
That you're looking around the locker room in this day and age, and it's just like, wow, we're able to keep everybody. Because I bet you when they walked out of that locker room in Detroit last winter, after getting eliminated in the divisional round, I bet you were looking around saying, I know there's so many people are up. How are we going to keep everybody? Baker
question marks with Baker.
Baker needs his. Levante David wants his. Evans wants his. Is he gonna stay? I mean, all of that. They probably walked out of that locker room thinking to themselves, man, if we could only get one more shot together. And Jason Light said, I'll do that. And they're going to reward him for that. He rewarded them for making it all work. Now, obviously, they all had to work with him to make that work.
Yeah.
Now they're going to reward him with that.
Man.
And coaching staff staying intact with the exception of Dave Canales leaving. Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator, coming in, clearly has connected over the first 2 weeks. And it's consistent while also being spread around. So week 1 was a Mike Evans game. Week 2 was a
Chris Godwin
game.
Looks amazing.
Rashad White can get it done, right? Remember we had him on and we told him what he was ranked in fantasy, and he was
not happy about it.
He was a little itchy about that, right?
Yeah, but bet on me.
Correct. They've drafted well. Defensively, they're moving around. They've got some real studs. And
real good offensive line.
And Baker is like, this is my city.
Yeah.
And they rewarded him with a contract, and he's rewarding back to them by saying, this is what happens when you believe in me.
Yep.
And
it's impressive.
And 2 weeks in,
it's impressive.
They're 2-0 in conference. They have beaten the Lions, who a lot of people think are the team to beat in the NFC. And then you look at their schedule; they are gonna be tested. This Overreaction Monday subject line is going to be tested. And Tampa has Denver at home next week. That's a should win game. But they already performed well in one of those to start the season.
Yep, should win 3-0.
Home for Philadelphia.
Now we're talking.
They eliminated last year. Okay,
right.
And they just avenged their elimination loss from last year, so they know Philadelphia is eager to do that. Then comes their 2 road games against the teams that, with all due respect to Carolina, making their move at quarterback with Andy Dalton. These are the teams they're going to have to beat in order to win the division. And if you win these games on the road, what a leg up that gives you. At Atlanta, at New Orleans, home for Baltimore. Home for Atlanta again. The Baltimore game's on a Monday night. At Atlanta's on a Thursday night. Country's going to see it. At Kansas City, home for San Francisco. I mean, last year's Super Bowl winner, the 2 teams.
Really tough stretch before the bye.
Right. So they just beat the team that prevented them from going in the NFC Championship game against San Francisco. And that's what prevented them from eventually potentially playing Kansas City, which, as you know, Baker's been at Kansas City in a divisional game with the Browns and was balling out.
Yep.
And the rest of the back end of the schedule, both games against Carolina are there. I mean, at Dallas, at the Chargers, these are games that they're going to be tested.
But you look at the schedule now, 10-11 wins is not
correct, which means
not pushing it like maybe a couple weeks ago we thought.
The more teams that you force in January to bring to come fire the cannons in front of, the better. And there are some players and people on this team who know what it's like to go on a deep playoff run.
True.
Because Jason Light kept them together. I'm telling you, man, I don't think that's an overreaction at all, which is an amazing turnaround. I mean, think about the turnaround. We're like, Atlanta's winning this division. 2 weeks later, we're like, they can win the Super Bowl, Tampa. And we're sorry in between.
That's the way it goes.
All right.
Hey.
And shout out to the Buccaneers
Shout out
social
to the
media
social team.
We
Well done.
appreciate that shout out
Well
in
done.
reverse. Thank you.
Well done. All right, here's something for the Baltimore social team.
Oh, gosh. All right.
Ravens are going to miss the playoffs, man.
That's an overreaction. Come on.
Ravens are going to miss the playoffs. Rich, you got to look at it. You got to look at the math.
Come on.
Okay? 0-2 teams, we talked about it. 1 out of 9 last year. 3 out of 21 since we've gone to the 17 games. Ravens are 0-2, man. And those aren't just 2 like ho-hum losses. That is by a toenail in the opener. It is blowing a double-digit score lead at home to the Raiders.
That is disappointing, and that is shocking.
Those
and
are
that is
tough losses to overcome and come back from.
The offensive line needs work. And their offensive production needs somebody other than Zay Flowers to show up and show out. And that will either take time or you'll be right. And Baltimore's next game is at Dallas, home for Buffalo, at Cincinnati. That's a tough one.
That is really tough. And if you look worst case scenario, that's 0-5, 1-4.
Come on.
That team we saw yesterday is not going to beat Buffalo.
Daniel Jeremiah said in the flagship show on Monday that he's not concerned about the Ravens because physical play eventually rules the day.
But they have a late bye. That's a week 14 bye.
Week 14
and if the losses start piling up a little bit.
I don't know about that. I mean, they listen. Let me see right here. If you put that up one more time.
Yeah, look at the schedule. It is difficult, man.
No, they're on the road, home, on the road, home, on the road, then on the road. So 4 out of the next 6 is on the road, and that's not easy. And then then comes their division games. They're used to it. They're tough, man. They're a tough team.
But now, I think Pittsburgh always tough. But that
for you to sit here and say they're not going to be the 1 seed, I don't think that's an overreaction. For you to sit here and say they're not going to win the division, that's something that's bordering on an overreaction.
They're
but
2
it's
games
viable.
back of Pittsburgh
miss the playoffs. That one I'm not going to buy right now. I just won't buy it.
Okay.
But speaking of just in terms of physical play, right? Speaking in terms of like swap and paint, right? How about that Harbaugh, week 13?
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah,
like that just sits out there. Certainly with J.K. Dobbins running like he is, and there's a little bit of a
revenge game there.
I would think. I don't know. I can't wait for it, but I can't sit here and buy this. I think you're hoping because I know you're not a Baltimore.
I'm not hoping. These are not done with any type of bias. You just look at the numbers and you look at how it's shaken out a little bit. Somebody's going to be out. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I don't think it will be Baltimore.
Somebody's going to be out.
I don't believe it will be Baltimore. What else, Chris?
All right, let's get through these last 3. If it was going to be this bad, Sean Payton should have just stuck with Russell Wilson.
Well, if it was going to be this bad, Sean Payton should have just stuck with Fox. If you want to keep turning the clock back right here.
Double overreaction.
I don't.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. I can't say
Russ was playing all right. He's not as bad as Bo Nix. I mean, it's been really rough for the rookie.
Well, I mean, of course Russell Wilson is going to look better than Bo Nix. One would think. One would hope. Come on now. But
it's not great. It's not great in Denver right now.
I agree.
It's not great.
And right now, it's not good. If you recall last year, Sean Payton's administration began with a complete and utter destruction blowout at the hands of the Miami Dolphins.
Yep.
Okay. And then turned around in the middle of the season. I know Russ had something to do with it. Let's see if Bo Nix can, show a little bit more of a sign of life. He regressed from week 1 to week 2, I would think. And week one was a very low bar.
Yeah.
But sticking with Russ, it just wasn't. That dog was just not going to hunt, and you know that. You and I both know it.
Yeah.
And for him to sit there and go, okay, I came in and I inherited Russ and all this, the lack of draft choices because I inherited Russ and the way that the Broncos brought him in, and he sits there with such a large cap figure.
Yeah.
In the long run. But moving on from Russ now will be helpful in the long run.
Sure, but
the question is replacing him with a rookie quarterback, 12th overall, who might not be the guy. But it's just 2 games in. his weapons outside of Cortland Sutton. Chris, we keep saying
No,
this,
I
and I know
know.
that's it's potentially offensive, or if by not potentially.
Well, yes, I mean,
But again, I had
but fantasy perspective,
I'll just recount that.
You should. It's an interesting story.
Cooper's buddy Ryan. By the way, you haven't lived until you hear 13-year-old boys talk about football during the game.
I can't wait. I'm 9 years away.
Oh my God, are they just they were like the old man Muppets, just 13 years old. Okay, and he's wearing his Bo Nix jersey that we got him for his bar mitzvah.
Okay,
and he's got at least a dozen fantasy teams. Literally every single person who caught the ball is just like, I got that guy.
Like, yes,
I got that guy.
You're rooting for the whole league at that
It's
point.
insane, right? But I said to him, you love the Broncos, right? Uh-huh. You love fantasy football, right? Uh-huh. How many Broncos do you have? And he just starts thinking to himself over his 12 teams. He goes, I don't think I have any. Not many or whatever.
Even I have a Patriot.
And I told him again, but the reason why I say this is nobody's threatening. Nobody's like, for instance, this week.
There's no player that a defense is game planning
this
against.
week. Do you think, as Todd Bowles and his defensive staff are getting ready right now in Tampa for Week 3,
anyone worries them?
Who? Right.
Nobody.
Who worries him?
No chance.
Cortland Sutton is going to be the guy. That's it. Which is why the Niners apparently were reaching out to him. Reaching out for them to say, hey, Ayuk's not working out here, can we flip you something for Sutton so we can get out of this thing and move forward?
Yeah.
And Sean Payton, rightfully, he's going to start a
that's
rookie.
all we
He's
got.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's not all on Nix. It's a team thing. So I don't know how much better Russ would like to keep going.
They could have saved
Look
themselves.
at what the Giants look like with a quarterback that they don't believe in, but they kept because they have no choice because he's so expensive.
He played a little bit. Daniel Jones played a little bit better on Sunday.
Okay. Rightfully
They could have
so.
saved themselves some cap space.
What else?
That's all I'm saying. All right, two more.
Well, they're going to later on.
Yeah. All right, Jaguars 0-2, and it has not been pretty.
That's right.
The 0-2 start proves that they should not have paid Trevor Lawrence this offseason.
Nah, man.
30th in completion percentage.
I don't know what's going on.
19th in passer rating, only one touchdown.
Wow.
Third most sacked quarterback in the league.
I'm not going to go there yet. You know why? Because they got 2 weeks in London coming up, and that usually is where things turn around. I'm serious. I'm not joking.
And I have Trevor in fantasy, and so I'm watching all these Jaguar games. It has been brutal.
No, and I'm watching it too because I have that Jaguars Bears game, Week 5 in London after calling Jets Vikings, and Week 6 in London after calling Jets Vikings to start off the Week 5 Sunday, both on NFL Network, I should add. And so I normally the Jaguars flip a switch a little bit, turn it around. I don't know what's going on because they have. By the way, how about Evan Ingram warming up? Hurts his hamstring.
Warm-ups.
So
they have talent.
And last year falling apart though, Chris.
I know
had
it was after he got
his injury
injured.
and Christian Kirk being hurt.
I get it.
You can't chalk it up to last year, now.
I didn't bring up last year. You did. I'm talking about this 0-2 start and how it's looked.
Let me ask you this question.
It's been real bad.
Let me ask you this question. Would it be out of the realm of possibility in this crazy-ass football world right now where the Cowboys looked like that Week 1 and then Week 2, right? Mm-hmm. Where the Ravens, then how many survivor pools got blown up in Week 1
I'd say
by the Patriots and then Week 2 by the Raiders, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you think Jacksonville can go into Buffalo and win on a Monday night, Week 3?
I would be stunned, but
come on.
Of course they can.
Come on, man.
Of course they can.
Right.
Like, they have really good players.
At
Christian
Houston,
Kirk,
home for Indianapolis.
Travis Etienne. This rookie Brian Thomas is the real deal.
I know. Losing the first 2, though, is a hole.
Especially when you blow a big lead against the Dolphins on the road. That's a huge game that they should have won. And home game against the Browns, the way they looked in Week 1. Come on, man.
Right. So, but I'm not sitting here saying they shouldn't have paid Trevor Lawrence. Come on now.
You could have made him earn it this year. That's all I'm saying.
What else, Chris?
Last one, Rich.
Yes, sir.
This is mostly just for you because I like you.
Okay.
Just give Jim Harbaugh Coach of the Year now. Just give it to him.
I love it.
It's over.
I love what he's doing.
It's over.
I love what he's doing with all the players. He's turning it into like a Harbaugh collegial atmosphere, right?
Yeah, board games on the road.
Yeah. And he's talking about like it's all he wants to do is get everything Justin Herbert in his body, and he wants to wear his shoes, right? And he's throwing his arm around Quentin Johnston and, telling all these guys, hey, you got a fresh start with me, and I believe in all of you, and we're going to be a team, we're going to be family, and who's got it better than us, and all of that, right? But and totally that's why I was saying to everybody who was like, wait a minute, we're letting Keenan Allen walk and Mike Williams walk, and who the hell's going to catch the ball? And Quentin Johnston couldn't do a damn thing, and then week 2 he catches 2.
Yep.
Right, and everything is working right, and they're physical. They are absolutely. There hasn't been any charging.
Hasn't been any charging yet.
Okay, and there hasn't been any of that stuff, and I don't think you're going to see any of that either.
You want to know what sold it for me? You know how usually the day after the game or later on Sundays, the team will put out a bunch of social videos, and it was one pregame of Justin Herbert giving the speech in the huddle. I was blown away. I didn't know Herbert had that in him. He's cursing, he's yelling, he's getting everybody fired up. Yeah. And it wasn't a Jameis Eaton W situation. Yeah. The guys were buying into it. They really believed it. You could see it in their eyes. And I'm like, huh. And then Harbaugh was doing the pounding on the pads and whacking Herbert. They're all bought in. They're all in. I'm all in. I didn't think he was going to plus them up like you had been saying.
I said +7 is what he did to the San Francisco.
You said +7. I'm willing to go there now.
They're +2 right now because they started 0-2 last year. They're 2-0 now.
Right.
So obviously, if they go ahead and win the division, he's coach of the year. And I don't care what anybody else does.
I think 10 games he's coaching.
Well, I don't know about that because
that's +5, and they make the playoffs at 10-7.
This is what Overreaction Monday should be all about, which is saying stuff way too early. Okay, but look around for Coach of the Year stuff. Here's some other places that I'm looking for the seeds being planted. D'Amico Ryans in Houston. Okay. But normally Coach of the Year is like, we didn't expect that, or there's hardships you're overcoming.
They would have to be the 1 seed, I think, for him.
Right. Okay. But where you're looking for some, if they have a monster like 12, 13, 14 win season.
If they're 13-4, I think,
Here's another one. Green Bay. If Malik Willis wins
if he goes undefeated,
if your earlier supposition on this program comes true, and then the Packers wind up winning their division,
right,
and battling for the 1 seed, I think there's enough people to be like, okay, Matt LaFleur,
we've held off on giving it to him.
Held off on giving it to you long enough because we thought you were only that good because Rodgers was rolling out the footballs for Rodgers, although he had to tell Rodgers, hey, let's work together and, teach new spots and all that.
We're running. Yeah.
Okay, there's one. Jonathan Gannon in Arizona, if you're saying they'll win the division. There's another one. I'm just talking about seeds here. How about Sean McDermott in Buffalo?
Ooh, what if the Bills from hot seat to Coach of the Year?
Yeah, because nobody expected them. What if the Bills wind up in that situation?
All right, I'm buying that.
These are all ones that you got to keep your eye on right now.
Yeah.
And here's one last one to give you 2 in the NFC. What if the Saints are the best team in the NFL? I know a lot of people aren't thinking of Dennis Allen for Coach of the Year, but what if they are, right?
Kevin O'Connell.
And that's the other one.
Yeah.
And a real dark horse would be either Mike McDonald in Seattle, because you don't usually give it to a first-year coach.
Right.
Or Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia for giving up. Sort of for backing off and realizing how to back off,
right? Yeah,
and letting things go.
Going CEO type, yeah.
Just throwing them out there. That's what Overreaction Monday is all about.
Early seeds.
But so give. I mean,
just give it to him now. Yeah.
Okay, I'll agree with that. Just because who's got it better than us.
Also,
our week 1 pod got seen on YouTube over 200,000 times. Who's got it better than? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers social staff is watching us. Who's got it better than us, Chris?
Look at us.
Say the word.
Nobody.
Oh, that means so much to me.
Just because he was nice to my son.
Okay. Let's at the run Rich Run. Yeah. He was nice to everybody.
He was.
All right, so let's finish this up as we did last week, or in every week, which is we're going to predict what we're overreacting to the following week. I was way off. And that's what Overreaction Monday is all about, is being way off.
Yeah, who cares? And forgetting about it.
And admitting that you're way off or forgetting about it, or admitting that you're way off after I said, Matt LaFleur can be coach of the year. I said the Packers would be in deep trouble if we come on the air.
Yeah.
And, man, I am wrong. What did you say?
I said the Bucs are the best team in the NFC.
Okay.
Hey, not bad.
But we just said we're not overreacting.
Not bad. I know.
It's a difference between predicting the truth and overreacting. So that's what I'm saying. It's when you say this, it means you don't really mean it.
I know. I'm not good at these.
Don't get
I'm not good at these.
Okay.
I did nail the Bucs,
You got to
though.
predict something
I did.
that will
I
happen
said they were going to win.
that you think is an overreaction.
But I said the Saints are the best team in the league.
Okay.
All right.
Nice save.
This one, I'm doubling down on the NFC South.
Okay.
I'm going to say the Saints and Bucs are going to win playoff games this year.
That's what people are going to say at the end.
After next week.
After the Saints
They're going to be 3-0.
beat Philadelphia at home.
Yes.
Well, but do you believe that? You think the Saints are going to have a playoff game this year?
I think that's what we're going to be saying next week.
Okay, and the Bucs are going to beat Denver.
And the Bucs will be 3-0, and then it'll be because it'll be like
they'll be part of the Final Four of the NFC.
Yes.
Oh,
plot twist. The division we thought was like getting one playoff team, then they're both going to win playoff games.
All right. I think you're going for a prediction rather than another overreaction.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an overreaction right here.
Okay.
Put up on the screen. The Cowboys are in trouble.
Because they're going to lose to Baltimore this week.
They're going to lose to Baltimore this week.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
Yeah, but I said Baltimore's going to miss the playoffs, so maybe Dallas.
Hold on. But by the way, in losing to Baltimore, I don't believe means that the Cowboys are in trouble. I still think the Cowboys make these playoffs in the NFC.
What if?
But let me just tell you something. What if what?
It depends how they lose.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I mean, if they're not scoring touchdowns and it's all Brandon Aubrey, then yeah, they got a big problem.
Well, I believe that the whole thing will be the Cowboys are in trouble. We're going to see another video of Stephen A. Smith cackling in front of his television set.
Belichick watch.
And all that. No, Belichick watch. Get out of here. There's the one thing that Jerry Jones isn't doing is changing coaches in the middle of the season to tell Bill Belichick, hey, you tell the CW and Underdog and the Mannings, I'm out. Middle of the season. No, sir.
All right.
No, sir. One thing Bill Belichick is not is an interim head coach. Or taking over midseason for somebody.
Take over midseason.
No,
to be
sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. And don't forget, I once watched him Jerry stick with Wade Phillips so damn long.
Way too. And Jason Garrett.
That ain't happening. Okay.
Sorry.
But in terms of the Cowboys are in trouble, just as a playoff viable Super Bowl threat, everyone will think that. Because I believe they're losing to Baltimore. I may be wrong on this front. I don't think there's any way Baltimore goes 0-3. It's more likely Dallas goes 1-2. And I will every single time I remember, I was there. The night the old Texas Stadium closed, and it was the Ravens in the house, along with literally every single Cowboy legend that was living and breathing on the planet. Jerry brought them all back, and also there were legends of the Texas football world that were fictional. I will never forget sitting on the NFL Network set that night on the Saturday night show that we had prior to the game. I looked up, and I saw the actor Brad Leland lurking underneath one of the uprights. And I got off the set to say hello to him. You know who he was? Buddy Garrity.
Is that Buddy Garrity? Yeah.
Buddy Garrity of Friday Night Lights was standing underneath the goalpost. I didn't get up to say hi to Roger Staubach. No. I didn't get up to say hi to Bob Lilly. I didn't get up to say hi to any of the Cowboy living legends. I got my ass off the set to shake Buddy Garrity's hand and tell him, you, sir. You, sir.
You're delightful.
The way you fight for the Dillon Panthers is inspiring. And I watched that night unfold as a slow car crash nightmare for the Dallas Cowboys because the Ravens came in and toughed it out on them and just hit him in the mouth. Willis McGahee was running for 70-yard touchdowns and stuff. It felt like I will never forget the Ravens closing that night out. And I pulled aside one of the individuals who was running off the field in victory wearing Ravens pajamas. I grabbed him and I pulled him aside and I'm like, when are you coaching Michigan? And his name was Jim Harbaugh. Oh. Jim was on the sideline for his bro. And I pulled him aside. I'm like, when are you coming home?
You planted that seed.
Dude, you have no idea. I'm a seed planter, a professional seed planter, and I'm planting this seed right now. We will be overreacting.
Yes.
Next week that the Cowboys are in trouble. In the same way that I thought the Packers would lose and at 0-2, everybody's like freaking out. And they would still be a viable threat. That's the way you do this thing. Okay?
All right, Martin, I'm taking notes.
Thank you, sir. Good stuff, sir.
That was great.
All right.
We're back.
That'll wrap it up for the second in-season week of Overreaction Monday. For Chris, I'm Rich. See you next week. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.